What's up, guys? Oh, I'm all sort of pixelated, aren't I? That's a little odd. Should I change my shirt? I'll put on my sweatshirt. Why is my green screen so bad all of a sudden? What happened to my lights? That's weird. It's usually not quite that bad, is it? It's not that bad. Okay. So let me explain to you how bad this is gonna be. The VR thing, it's like, it's not working right, but I really want to get in VR, so it's gonna be a crappy experience for you guys. I can't watch the chat, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hop in my mod's voice channel, and they're gonna just kind of shoot the shit with me the whole time. Nice hype train, wow. During this, I probably am not gonna go the full 2 hours. I am so tired. It's just been a crappy couple of weeks, and I'm just like crawling through it. You could see, I don't know, you guys could see this like shiny bump on my face. Like, it got to the point where like life was so ridiculous because I was setting something up in my bedroom, right? And so like I got done and turned around and ran face first into my bedpost. Like face first. You can see, like, look at this f***ing bruise on my forehead. Like, that's how crappy the last couple of weeks have been. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna go, so I've realized, I was playing with this earlier today, I realized I have completely forgotten how to fly an airplane. To give you some background, yes, I was in the Air Force, but I was not a pilot. I was an intelligence officer, which has nothing to do with flying. I used to joke that I flew the BD-6D, which is the big desk 6 drawer. I didn't get my pilot's license until 2006, no, 2017, 2016 or 2000, oh my God, it's been a long time. I learned how to fly single engine land aircraft. So they're propeller based, and I can't land in the water. I mean, I could once, but that's what my license is. I stopped flying in early 2018. It got expensive and it got dangerous. General aviation, which is what we call anything other than like airliner training, airliner flying, commercial. General aviation can be very dangerous. I actually knew one of my instructors died after I got my license. And I kept hearing about people and like somebody crashed an airplane into my on-ramp, like to get to my house. So like it's an extremely dangerous hobby. So like at that point I was like, okay, I had a couple of close calls myself, and I decided that I was gonna like take a break from flying for a while. I may get back into it. Lately I've been kind of missing it, but yeah, personal aircraft crashes, it happens all the time. I went to go pick up my car. I dropped my car off for service, and I was supposed to get it back on Friday afternoon. So the place closes at 5 o'clock, and they text me at 6 o'clock, and they're like, your car is ready. And I was like, well, you're closed. I can't come pick it up now. What the hell? And they were like, hey, sorry, an aircraft crashed into the parking lot next door. You can come pick it up tomorrow. So like general aviation, like little planes crash all the time. They crash all the time. Like it's way more dangerous to fly. Wow, we really are like hyping up here. So in any case, I stopped flying for a while. I may check it out again. I think actually the last time, well, no. One of the last times I flew with a passenger, I flew with Phil Bach, who's the director of Transformers and the director of the Star Fox short that I was in. We flew to an air museum, and that was a great day. And I kind of miss it. But in any case, so I got my pilot's license in about 6 months of training. I've flown 100 and something hours, which is not a lot. And the aircraft that we're going to be flying to begin with, which is a Cessna 152, I flew the Cessna 150, which was from like 1960. It had duct taped together. I'm not kidding. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna throw on the VR headset. I'm gonna take a drink of water is what I'm gonna do. We're gonna go through the basic general aviation training together, and I'm gonna see how much I remember. This is extremely true to life. The sim is. I mean, like everything, it's a sim. It's not like a game. It's a sim. I'm gonna throw the VR headset on and do my best. There's lots of like camera orientation stuff that I haven't worked out yet. I'm gonna work on it over the next week if you guys want to see this again. If I won't be able to see chat, but I think I have at least one mod in my ear. Will I have one mod in my ear? Who else is with me? I see.
I'm here.
All right, so I see Booty and I see Michelle, and so they're gonna be your flight attendants. Like like sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight. This is your captain speaking. Welcome to Zieja Airlines, where you're guaranteed to crash in a flaming wreck. Your flight attendants are Booty and Michelle. They'll be taking you through. Make sure you let them know and make anything more comfortable. So they'll be helping me out, kind of like translating the salient points of chat. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna go through the aviation training, and I'm gonna see if I can refresh my memory a little bit as to what it is. Now, some of the things that don't really work well in the VR sim is that, like, obviously I can't reach out and pull the levers. I remember where all the levers are in the cockpit, but I'll have to like reach and fumble for my mouse. We're gonna crash a lot. We're gonna crash a lot. I promise you, I know how to take off and land an aircraft. I've done it hundreds of times. Yeah, let's see what happens here. It's gonna start to look real funny. Just bear with me, okay? I'm gonna keep. You're gonna hear two. Here, I'll do this for right now. It's gonna look real funny because of the way that the VR works. So let me see if I can't put this on and figure this out real quick. I think I gotta do this first. Yeah. I tell you what, running face first into like your bedpost and then trying to. Okay. Now, I think I press Control Tab on the flight sim. If I get to the flight sim. That should pop up in VR. You guys are gonna see like two screens. This, I don't understand. Like, it gets all screwed up, but I'm gonna do my best. I have to like orient myself this way. What is wrong with my voice? All right, I have to face this way, otherwise it doesn't work. Because the camera thing is all screwed up. I'm gonna tilt everything this way a little bit. And then we're gonna go to general aviation training. We're gonna do basic controls and cameras first. We'll figure out where this is. Oh, we're going from Sedona to Sedona. Let's see what happens. In this training, we're gonna learn about ailerons, flaps, rudder, and elevator. All right, so I do have a throttle on my left. I got a joystick on my right. Now, normally there's a yoke in these planes, not like a joystick. I'm behaving like a fighter pilot. And under my feet, I did buy rudder pedals, which when I decided to do the sim thing, it was like, it's really important. Okay, all right, good. I'm where I need to be in the cockpit, which is nice. Look at this. I'm gonna take my headset off and peek and see, like, can you guys see? You guys see it's all right, right? Like, it's not terrible. You guys get like half the screen. What do you think, mods? Does this look okay? Like, is this all right? Can you hear me?
I think it looks pretty good.
Okay,
you get the gist.
You get the gist of it.
Fine to me.
Okay. So this particular training is going to start us off in the middle of the air, so I don't get to take off yet. So we'll see what we've got going on, and then someone's gonna talk to me.
Welcome to flight training.
I'm gonna put this up.
I'm your instructor, Captain Molina, but you can just call me Jess.
I feel like I recognize his voice.
This session, we'll get started with some basic controls.
All right, the
Sound
pilot
good?
has the aircraft here, so turn this way.
First things first, let's get familiar with your surroundings.
Okay.
Now that we're oriented, it's your turn. Time to fly this bird. The first control on our training list is the yoke.
Which is my joystick.
I remember my first instructor saying the yoke is like a steering wheel. Almost. Sure, you can turn, but you can also pitch.
Yeah.
For starters, it controls the ailerons.
The ailerons are what make you go
And
left,
the ailerons, they
roll,
allow the plane
left and right.
to roll and bank into turns. and try rolling to the right.
Rolling to the right.
Nice. Now let's
This I
say
could
you
do.
level back out.
I'm level. I'm almost level. This right here that I'm looking at, I'll kind of point this way. That's called your artificial horizon, which sort of indicates
Of course,
if you're
the yoke also
pitching
controls
or
the
rolling.
elevator. And the elevator affects the plane's pitch, right?
Right?
Pull back on the stick, the plane starts to climb. Give it a shot.
Very sensitive. The joystick is
The
extremely
most
sensitive.
valuable things in aviation are speed and altitude.
Yeah.
But notice, when you're pitching up, your speed is decreasing.
So there you can see my altimeter.
Could add more power.
You can see vertical speed.
Or for now,
And you can
let's
see
just
airspeed
pitch
there.
down.
Right now, or we'll
Just
pitch
like
down.
that,
Let's do it.
your speed's picking up again as the nose pitches down. As you level back out, let's talk about another control, the rudders at your feet.
Right? Rudders do yaw,
Rudder
which sort of
pedals
like
control the
pulls
aircraft's
your-
side-to-side movement, also
What?
known as yaw.
very
On the
sensitive.
ground, those pedals are going to steer the plane left or right. Up here, they properly align us during turns.
Why am I rolling? I don't need to
Try
roll.
them out and watch the plane's nose skew to either side.
Right, there we go. When you're
Simple
doing
enough,
this,
right?
you're making what's called a coordinated turn. So if you just
Before we
roll,
go on, let's bring
and then
the
pull up
plane
to
back
turn,
straight up flight.
you're sort of like
Make sure your dashboard is
drifting.
aligned
With a
3 to 4
yaw,
inches
by adding
below the
yaw, you
horizon
make what's
for
called a
cruise
coordinated
attitude.
turn, which is just a better way to turn. What are we doing? Straight up. Okay.
Okay, the last thing we're going to cover now is the throttle. If you have the need for speed, then the throttle's for you.
There we go.
Full control over the power output
Throttle's
of the
over
engine.
here. Currently at full throttle.
Let's see what happens when you cut all the power.
Yeah, let's cut all the power. That's what I wanted in an airplane. All right, throttle's all the way out.
Surprise, surprise. Our altitude is decreasing.
Yep, and my stomach is now in my throat.
This might be a good time for a piloting PSA. Always keep an eye on your
Can I-
surroundings.
Instructor, can I put the
because
throttle back
nobody
in?
likes a low-flying duck.
Night.
All right, let's go ahead and throttle back up.
Okay. This cord out of the way.
There you go. Speed is increasing, and as long as we maintain the same attitude, our altitude will keep climbing too. You're really
So
getting the hang
Joe,
of
some
your
people are
controls.
asking, what headset are you using?
This is a Quest 2
Before
that I'm
long,
using
we
with a
won't
Quest
even
Link.
need a co-pilot.
Which is
Until
just a
then,
cable in the
if
PC.
you want help with the radio or
Checklist.
checklists or simply flying the plane,
I don't remember
I'll be
jack
here.
about the radio.
You can pass me the controls when you're ready to finish your session, or keep flying. It is a great day after all.
It is a beautiful day out here in Sedona. All right. Where's my rudder? There it is. Okay. So if you look down here, right, you can see the turn coordinator. If I make a right bank, the turn coordinator is going to go a little funny until I add rudder to make it coordinate. Now this is like a nice, smooth, coordinated turn. I'm pitching at like a 45-degree angle, but which is way too much. And then I'll bring the rudder back as soon as my these rudder pedals are super sensitive, so it's hard for me to get a sense of like where center is. That about there is, I think, center. You shouldn't be like rolling without touching the yoke. To delegate aircraft controls, press Control-Alt-X. Let's see if I can do this in there. Hi. Nope, that's Control-Alt-C.
All right, I have control.
All right.
Good job.
And I would tell my instructor, you have the aircraft. The instructor would repeat to me, I have the aircraft. That way there's never any confusion. One of the big things about communication in flying is that you're always reading stuff back to each other. So like if the tower tells you, like Cessna 61221, you're clear for takeoff, runway 34 left, you would have to repeat that back, copy that, 61221, clear, 34 left, rolling, or whatever. So that there's never any confusion, because most accidents that happen in an air traffic control sense happen because of a lack of communication. So now we're going to check out our instruments, attitudes and instruments. We'll go straight there. We're going to learn about airspeed indicator, attitude indicator, altimeter, turn and slip, heading, variometer, and the tachometer. Where's my tachometer? I don't see it.
People are saying congratulations, you didn't crash.
Well, I mean, they started me in the sky, and I finished in the sky. So it'll be a little different when we start doing takeoffs and landings. Although I have actually already taken off and landing in the sim, and I'm still pretty good at it. All right. Talk to me, instructor. Move these injectors over
Today
here.
we're talking about attitudes of flight. How your plane is oriented relative to the horizon. If you look outside, you can see the cockpit is just about 4 inches below the horizon line.
I mean,
we're flying straight
really.
with a decent rate of speed. This is the cruise attitude. Let's see how it reads on your instruments.
Yeah, so cruise attitude, you should see no change in your vertical speed or your altitude. So right now I'm actually sinking a little bit. I should probably either add a little bit of throttle.
The sky above and the ground below.
Oh, it's not letting me control
orange
anyway. So.
element in the middle, aligned with the horizon, that's your plane. Just like we saw outside, our current attitude reads pretty much.
Is this Erica
level.
Lindbeck? Like, is Erica Lindbeck in my ears right now?
Okay, now let's see how much power the engine's generating.
Oh my God, it
Check
is,
your
isn't it?
tachometer. Looks
All right.
like we're pushing around 2,300 revolutions per minute.
Where is my tachometer?
Combined, attitude and engine RPMs translate to aircraft
Oh, it's over here.
performance.
So you don't want it to fall
Leads
outside
us
the green
to your
zone.
airspeed indicator.
Use this control. Hold this back.
Now, last but not least, check your altimeter.
There's the altimeter.
To figure out your altitude, you always want to read the small needle first. That's how many thousands of feet up you are. Then on to the big needle for the hundreds.
So we're only like 950 feet.
With our current attitude and power output, we're holding a
Sorry.
speed of 90 knots and a stable altitude of
6,000 feet. Where's the small handle? Oh, it's
But
blended
that's
in there.
about to
Okay.
change. Take the stick when you're ready.
All right, I got the stick. I have the
Pull
aircraft.
back slightly on the yoke to raise the nose
So
just
Joe,
above the
Genji Main
horizon line.
asked, did you ever throw
About
up during
2
your
inches.
flight training?
No, I never got
Make sure you
airsick.
don't pitch up too
Thank God.
much, or the angle will be too steep to create lift. And without enough lift, we'll stall.
We're not gonna stall at this.
All right.
You guys want to
Full
stall? We can stall.
throttle and start climbing.
All right, full throttle.
Welcome
We're gonna
to
go
the
up.
climb attitude.
One of the most difficult things
See
about
how
flying
it
an
shows
airplane is
up on your
managing all
attitude
your
indicator and tachometer?
instruments. It's making sure, like, okay, that's my airspeed, altitude.
According to
I'm not
your
sinking because
altimeter,
you lose all
we're
sense of like,
gaining
are you
altitude.
falling? Are you climbing?
But
So a
we're
lot of times, like,
losing
if I'm not paying
airspeed
attention, all of a
even at
sudden I'm
full
500
throttle.
feet higher than I should be,
You can't avoid
and that can
basic
get dangerous.
physics while making a climb. Okay, before we go on, let's get back to a cruise attitude.
Getting to a cruise attitude is super
Ease up
difficult.
on the
So
yoke and aim your nose just below the horizon. Then throttle
I wanna
back
make sure
down
my
to
vertical
2,300
speed
RPMs.
is 0, and then I'm gonna pull back until I get. What RPMs did she want? I can't remember. 2,300. Okay. So we're gonna get
Nice
to like
job.
2,300.
We're now set up
Right
with
about
the
there.
same attitude and power we had at the top of our lesson.
What was it? I don't remember
Start
what
by
it was.
reducing your RPMs to 1,800.
1,800.
Then drop the plane's nose a bit further below the horizon.
Okay.
Then drop the plane's nose a bit further below the horizon.
You just told me that. I got it. Go back down to 1,800 RPMs ish. Still pretty hot here.
As
This-
expected, with a nose down attitude,
Okay.
our altitude is decreasing while our speed is picking up.
Yeah. So you see, we're falling at about.
Why don't you get us
Yeah.
back to a cruise attitude, and we'll hit the last part of our lesson.
Great. Cruise attitude. I'll put like 2,300 RPMs.
There we go.
Right
now
about
that
here.
we know how to cruise,
And you
climb,
see the vertical
descend,
speed indicator
let's
should
talk
be
about the
reading
turn
just about
attitude.
0.
Gently pull the yoke left or right to start rolling the plane.
And when you're making a turn, you're going to decrease altitude. So sometimes you may need to
take
give a
look
little bit of
outside,
throttle.
You can see how our attitudes changed, but you can also check your instruments for the details.
So I would like to try
As
to make a
general
turn
rule, you
where I
always wanna
don't.
keep your turns under 30 degrees.
Well, yeah, I guess.
At the top of
Nice,
your attitude
easy roll.
indicator, there's a series of notches representing 10 degrees each. Use them to control your roll.
So right now we're turning at about.
you turn, the more you need to pull back on the yoke to maintain altitude. When you're rolling out, you'll need to do the opposite. Roll and push at the same time.
My rolling angle is
The
fine.
main attitudes of flight, the closer you get to that pilot state of mind. So keep practicing, and whenever you're done, pass me the controls.
All right, so we'll roll out and see if we can't keep our altitude right about there. Maintaining altitude, super, super important. Because if you screw it up, all of a sudden you're like way off. Air traffic control starts to yell at you because they can see you, that you're not at the altitude that you said you'd be. This is actually, it's really nice in VR. I don't get the aid of gravity telling me when I'm in a bank, which I would get in an airplane. So that is a little bit more difficult to maintain. But so, okay, right now I've got vertical speed of 0, altitude's consistent, about 2,300 RPMs. My attitude is nice, and I'm going about 90 knots. Is this miles per hour or knots? I can't tell. Knots. That's good.
We've got Meatsworth rating with a party of 7.
What's up, Meatsworth?
Thanks, I've got control now.
All right.
Well done.
May hand it back to my instructor here. Do not open window above 143 knots. It's weird to me that you can be flying an airplane with a window open. Where's my mouse? All right, takeoff and level flight. Takeoff and landing are the most difficult parts of flying an airplane. $55 knots? That's where we're gonna rotate? I guess that, okay. That sort of makes sense.
All right, Joe, we got a couple questions coming your way about the flight.
Fire at me.
All right, from Stokes. He says, who's the better pilot crash test dummy, you or Captain Rogers?
Well, Rogers has never crashed, has he? I don't know.
I think he's talking about Captain America flying into the ice.
Well, Captain Rogers is the name of the character in my book. Yeah.
That Captain Rogers.
I didn't realize until forever. Okay.
There's
All
an
right,
old
next
saying
question
I
from
like.
Mala.
A
How
mile of
did you
road
become
will
a
take
pilot?
you a mile.
I flew a lot and
mile
then
of
took tests.
runway will take you anywhere.
All right, from Raptor. He said, Joe, did you ever see any F-22 Raptors while you were in the Air Force?
Hell yeah, they're amazing.
First, we always take
And
off
we
into
have
the
one
wind.
from
Which
Super
one?
Semantic. He
Hang
says,
Hang on one
which
second.
might be a...
All right,
Okay.
now I can hear you. Over what I think,
All right.
what I believe is Erica Lindbeck's voice, but I'm not totally sure. Where's my?
No, they got her voice earlier. Her name's Marie W. I forget it. I'm scrolling. Marie Westbrook.
Oh, okay, yeah.
All right. Next question from Super Semantic says, this may be a stupid question, but is civilian flying a lot different from military flying?
Well, yeah. I mean, the equipment's very, 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 very different. You don't have many like single prop, low weight, low thrust airplanes in the military. The rules are different. Yeah, it is very different. But everybody who starts in the military starts on like a DC-6, which is like a little prop airplane, just like the one I'm flying now. Oh, I'm on this track. All right, we're ready to
There's also
go ahead.
there's a couple people that want to see you open the window while you're flying really
I don't think
fast.
I can. Let's see. So let's see. Can I open the window? No, it won't let me. I would have liked to though. My favorite part about flying the Cessna 150 that I trained in, and you can see it here. Do you see this crap? Do you know what that is? It's an ashtray. Like, really? There's an ashtray in this airplane. Anyway, let's see if we can't take off.
Second, before we enter a runway, we always make sure it's clear. Everything looks good, no cross traffic. Go ahead and taxi into position.
So,
You've been rated by Aki with a
The
party
rudder
of
pedals
32.
makes
Hi,
the
everybody.
plane pretty easy.
all right. So here we are. We're doing what's called holding short, which is what you see this line here on the runway. We're holding short of what looks like runway 21. I'm not sure. I think that's what that says. Yeah, holding short of runway 21, and we'll be asking Tower, be like, hey, Sedona Towers, Cessna 61. Cessna, actually, our call signs are Cessna Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra, holding short runway 21, requesting permission for takeoff. And then we'll be doing like a straight out departure or whatever, which means we're gonna leave and then just keep going, or we're gonna do like a right traffic or left traffic, whatever it is. There are radio commands in this game, and it's kind of nice. But all right, so right now I'm sitting here holding short. I've got my parking brake on, which I need to take off, and then I'm gonna actually use the foot brakes to maintain where I am. Release that parking brake. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Okay. So that I foot brakes too. When you on the rudders, you tap forward, it will engage the brakes on the tires. So now I'm using those brakes rather than the parking brake. And we're gonna get to the center of the runway. Let's go. You can follow this yellow line as a guideline, and it will keep you there. I like to do this a little bit slower than they're asking me to, but that's fine.
I have a question from Sir Dr. Pepper asking, working at a flight school myself, how many hours did you log before you passed your check ride? Also, how much was your check ride?
I passed at like 80 hours. What's going on here? All right. All right, I'm gonna sit on the center of the runway and try to make my nose. Okay, stop aircraft on the runway using the brake, which I've done. I've got both brakes on. Can I take off yet? Oh no, I gotta get back in the center. Okay, let's take the brakes off a little bit. This is actually much harder than it is in an actual aircraft. Okay.
Apply full power and I'll walk you through the takeoff as we go.
So I'm taking, if I got a no flap takeoff, usually in a Cessna 150 I take off at 10% flaps, but I'm not gonna argue with the instructor here. We're gonna go full throttle and we're gonna rotate. We're gonna watch our airspeed here. When I say rotate, it means we're gonna pitch the aircraft up. I'm gonna try to keep the nose down to build airspeed as we go to this incredibly long runway. I'm not worried about running out of runway at all. And at about 55, 60 knots, I'm gonna slightly pull up on the yoke and we're gonna take off. So even with the brakes on, I can give it full power, and then I will slowly release the brakes, and away we go.
So Danielle wants to know when you joined the Air Force.
I joined the Air Force Academy in 2006.
Keep pushing power until you reach 55 knots.
Ah! I got distracted. I'm not stalling, leave me alone. Ah! That's your stall horn. It tells you that you're not big enough, you're not giving enough lift. And I don't know why it's forcing me to push the nose so down, but okay. Pull back, all I have to...
Line up the top of your instrument panel so it's a couple inches above the horizon. That'll pitch us up and set a good climb attitude. And we're airborne. Focus on flying straight. Use your rudders to keep the runway heading of 210 degrees.
All right, you can see a little compass there.
Maintain 75 knots.
210 is our...
We'll reach our target altitude
75
of
knots.
5,500 feet in no time.
All right, 75 knots.
Not quite ready to go there yet.
What happened?
Let's get back in position
What was that?
and try this again.
I'm not totally sure why it did that. I thought I was pretty good there. Parking brake is off. We're gonna stay center. I'm gonna keep the nose down this
Use your
time.
rudders to stay on the center line and keep pushing power until you reach 55 knots.
Not quite there yet.
Good. Now gently pull back on
We
the
got a
yoke.
little bit of a rotation. I'm gonna take off
Line up
in the
top
grass.
of your instrument panel so it's a couple inches above the horizon.
Whoops.
That'll pitch us up and set a good
Something
climb.
From Mira, do you have any advice for
Not
someone who's
quite
scared
ready
of
to go
flying?
there yet.
Don't do it.
Let's get back in position and try this again.
Don't fly. Don't fly if you're scared. Don't do this if you're scared. Or do you mean like you're just in general scared of flying an aircraft? What's going on here? Why is my pitch up? Is like my trim? Is my trim all screwed up? Let's see. Nose up, take off. I never mess with trim usually. I'm not cruising long enough. Okay, we'll go to takeoff-ish. And here we go. I'm gonna keep the nose centered on the runway, and I'm gonna keep my nose down so I can build up
Use your
airspeed.
rudders to stay on the center line.
If I try to pull up too
Power
early,
until you reach 55 knots.
the airplane will stall. So, sitting here at about 40 knots, looks like. Whoop.
Good. Now gently pull back on the yoke.
From Purple
Line up the
Pins,
top
does
of
stick
your
shift
instrument panel
knowledge
so
help
it's
you
a
fly
couple
better?
inches above
Not
the
at all.
horizon.
Not
That'll
even a
pitch
little
us up
bit.
and set a good climb attitude.
Something is very strange with the trim here. It's now like I'm trimmed down. That's very annoying. Okay. All right.
And we're airborne.
So we're gonna keep heading 210, which you can see in the top compass here.
Rudders to keep the runway heading of 210 degrees.
Going the wrong way.
Maintain 75 knots, and we'll reach our target altitude of 5,500 feet in no time.
All right, I'm going way too fast, so I'm gonna pitch up, bleed off some airspeed, stomp on that ball down there, and get up to 5,000. We're at 5,000. Almost at 500, just a little more. This poor thing really just doesn't go very fast or very far. And I'm slightly off
Raptor's
heading.
wondering.
Go ahead.
Raptor was wondering if you ever saw an A-10 Warthog in person while you were in the Air Force.
I don't think so. I don't think I was ever at a base that had them. All right, now this is pretty perfect. We're gonna be about 75 knots and we're almost at 5,500. Straight on to 210 heading. You can see the compass in the top center. I don't know why I'm pointing. You guys can't see where I'm pointing. There, that shows our compass heading. So 210, whereas 0/360 is due north.
Altitude for part 2 of our lesson.
Okay.
Straight and level flight. First step here is adjusting our attitude. We're in a cruise attitude, pushing max power. To stay level at our target altitude, let's start by easing the throttle back
All
to
right, gonna push this
1,800
throttle back a
RPMs.
little bit. Make sure we're not rolling. I can ease up on the yoke. Keeping it nice and level. And that's straight and level. They want me a little
Rachel's wondering, did you not want to be a pilot when you were at the academy, or did you not qualify?
I had bad eyesight.
You probably noticed, to maintain altitude, you need to pitch the nose up. You could just keep pulling on the yoke to hold steady, but that's not really a precise means of control. Probably better to adjust your trim wheel until you don't need to push or pull on the yoke.
Where's my trim wheel?
Drag the trim down when you
No,
need
that's...
to set the nose
What is
up.
that? Throttle?
Drag it up to set the nose down.
Throttle? Oh,
Try
yeah.
adding trim to keep us at 5,500 feet without increasing
I
throttle.
mean, all right. So I've got to like use my... This is very difficult. Joystick button 6 or joystick button 9 to keep the plane? I don't know where button 9 and 10 are.
When you adjust the trim,
All right.
you make rough changes at first to remove pressure on the yoke. Then small adjustments to find
Where is
the
it?
perfect
I'm gonna
setting
crash
to
just from
keep your
doing this. This is a
desired
ridiculous way to do this.
attitude. That's the key to straight and level flight. It saves you from
Meow Aqua is asking, what's the ideal airplane food?
and that gives you more time
Well,
to
like,
enjoy
well, you're
the
flying a
ride.
small plane?
If you want more practice using the
I
trim,
mean, like,
go for it.
whatever makes...
Whenever you're
Oh,
ready to
I
pass
hate
the controls,
trimming
I'll
like
be
this. This is
here.
awful. Oh no, we're trimmed a little bit. I'm gonna put a little forward pressure. I don't know that I've ever eaten while... No, I had a Twix once. I mean, I was pretty busy flying the airplane. All right. So now we are straight and level. Mostly straight and level. I'm gonna trim until I'm gonna stall the airplane. It's very difficult. It's very difficult to do. That's nose up. Let's go nose down. Oh, I stalled. All right, great. I'm gonna try to remap.
Okay, I have control. Hope you enjoyed the lesson.
I would probably remap my trim to this button on the joystick rather than do that garbage. I don't even know what that was all about. I'll remap those controls. I wonder if I can do that now. All right, next training is gonna be landing. Are you guys ready for this? And maybe I'll put flaps over here.
Danielle wants to know, do you remember all of the bases you've been on?
Sure. I mean, I can't... Unless you're talking about like bases that maybe like I went to for a second, like to do one specific thing. All right, welcome to the hardest part of flying. Aside from like, I guess, flying blind with an instrument. We're gonna attempt to land this airplane.
My first instructor used to say the best part of flying is landing in one piece.
Everyone seems very eager for you to crash, Joe. Just
Well,
saying.
I get it.
Today, you're in charge of bringing us in for a safe landing.
Oh, they're gonna put me straight on. This is not gonna be
We've
too
got
hard.
clearance for a straight-in approach, so we don't have to complete the standard traffic pattern. And I've already set us up in landing configuration at 65 knots with 10 degrees of flaps and idle power.
Okay, idle power.
We're on
Idle
the
power.
slope now. Maintain speed around 65 knots. Change your pitch if you need to, and keep your aim point on the runway number.
Yep.
When
You're always
you're
aiming
targeting
straight for the runway number.
You want to keep it steady in your sights.
I'm gonna use some rudder and even us out here.
It looks like the number's moving up in your windscreen. You're coming in low. You'll need to add a bit more throttle to get back on the slope. If it looks like the number's moving down in your windscreen, well,
All
then
right.
you're too high.
I feel pretty good about this approach.
You'll need to add flaps to
65
increase your
knots.
rate of descent, but you'll also need to push forward and trim to change your attitude and maintain the same speed.
I don't trim my landings. I just don't. To extend flaps for landing, press F8. I don't know where F8 is on my keyboard. All right, landing flaps. Now, that's not how I would do this normally. I wouldn't just drop the flaps like that, but okay. Flaps add surface area. I don't know if you can see them. Yeah, you can see them there. They add surface area to your wing so that you can fly, maintain lift, but fly a lower speed. So I'll be able to maintain altitude at a lower speed with the flaps down because the surface area of the wing is bigger. So I still actually feel pretty good about this approach, believe it or not. $60 knots.
Keep your aim point on the runway threshold. When you're 10 feet above the runway, it's time to flare. Once we pass the threshold, shift your aim point to the end of the runway. Then, pull back slightly on the yoke to aim the nose just above it.
I'm gonna take a little bit more throttle out. Actually, at this point, I'm probably gonna go idle. I'll idle throttle here. Start dropping some airspeed. There's the number, runway 3. We're coming in a little fast, but not too bad, and we've got plenty of runway.
Okay, we're past the threshold. Start the flare.
We're not past the threshold. We're about to pass the threshold. Here we go. And we're gonna start this nice, easy flare.
Keep pulling
Easy,
back slowly.
easy,
Let the plane settle onto the runway.
easy.
Don't push it down, but don't
There we
let
go.
it start climbing.
And now I'm gonna apply some rudder to get us
Nice.
back in the center.
Now apply the brakes to slow us down and bring the plane to a stop.
Get us back on center, just so it looks nice. Nope, get back on center. I'm not gonna stop this plane until we get back on center. All right. Nice and neat right there. Stop the
Good
airplane.
job. As they say,
First
any
try.
landing you can walk away from is a good landing.
Genji
That's-
Main wants to know,
Well,
what's the
if you
worst thing
fly
that
the
ever
next
happened to
day,
you while
it's
flying?
outstanding.
I got caught in a freak
Landing
thunderstorm
can be hard.
and had to make an
Even for
emergency landing in
pilots,
Santa Barbara
trust
in the
me,
middle of the night.
don't hesitate to
And it
practice.
was incredibly
After all,
scary.
That's what we're here for,
I was in
right?
an airplane. Actually, this is very close to the model airplane I was in. And the wind shear was so bad that I remember my head hitting the top, even in seat belts. We were going like this, like so bad. Thank God I was with an instructor, otherwise I probably would have been dead. And so then I ended up spending a night in a hotel with my flight instructor because the storm got bad. Had no idea that it was there. I checked the weather beforehand. And I legitimately thought there was a chance I was gonna die. That was probably my scariest flight moment. But hey, we did it. We landed. Traffic pattern. Ugh. So all you guys that thought I was gonna crash. There's a hair in my VR headset. Okay, so we'll probably do a pattern. What a pattern means when you're practicing your takeoffs and landings, it's actually to do for a ton of the time that you're flying. Even out my rudders here, I can look at them. We'll take off and then make basically 4 right turns. 3 right turns, I guess. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 right turns. So we'll take off and land into the wind. Let's see what we're gonna do.
Let's be honest, no one likes going around in circles. Unless you're a pilot training on traffic patterns. Sedona's standard traffic pattern follows a 1,000-foot altitude around the main runway. By the time we're through here, you'll know how to complete the full run from takeoff to landing. So let's get started.
So you see now that we're actually starting out at 4,800 feet. So my target altitude on pattern is going to be 5,800 feet. All right, we're on runway 21, ready to take off. Got to make sure my parking brake is off. Got to find it first. Go ahead and tap that in there. This pisses me off. Like, why would they set me up carburetor heat? So if you have like, if you need to turn on carb heat, it's because you're icing and you need to, like, your carburetor not to freeze. So like, but when you do that, it deviates power from your engine. So the fact that it just started me out at carb heat makes me angry. I actually did it once where I forgot to put the carb heat back in, because you run through your pre-flight checks, and the carb heat you check to see, make sure that your engine heats up and all that kind of stuff. And I forgot to put it in, and like I couldn't climb. It was like it was impossible for me to climb off the runway. It was super scary. But I forgot to take the carb heat out. So they start me off with my parking brake on and my carb heat out, which I wouldn't put my carb heat on in the middle of the runway. All right, here we go.
So Acer ZenX asks, speaking of that near-death experience, would you ever consider skydiving?
I would skydive. It's making me rotate way too early. I'm gonna go ahead and crash in this building, hang on.
Not quite ready to go there yet. Let's get back in position and try this again.
What was wrong? All right, I'm gonna push this yoke down. For some reason, it's forcing me to rotate early, and I don't know why that is. Like, I can't. I'm driving the airplane into the ground here, and for some reason, like, why would I rotate? That doesn't make any sense. All right. 40, 55, 60. Let's give it a little love. Let's actually get back on the runway heading, which was 210 again.
When we're up, keep us aligned with the runway and climb to
5,400 feet. My flaps are up.
We're going
Great.
for a left-hand traffic pattern.
All right, on a climb at 75. I am good. I'm at heading 210. We're heading up to 5,500 feet, climbing at 100 feet. 1,000 feet a minute. Is that what that is? I can't remember what it is. All right, we're heading up at the traffic pattern. Our goal is going to be 5,800 feet. My turn is a little bit on the uncoordinated side. There we go.
You're going to start turning left 90 degrees toward a 122-degree heading.
So Sabrukchi wants to know, can a caveman fly a plane?
Get ready to enter the crosswind section.
I mean, sure.
Good. Keep going till you reach the traffic pattern altitude of 5,700 feet. Ready to make your left turn downwind? When the runway appears at the halfway point of your wing strut, you'll know you're at a good glide distance.
All right, almost at the altitude I need to be at. Almost there, almost there, almost there, almost there. All right.
We've got the wind at our back now. We're on the right track.
Almost ready to make
Lower
our
your nose to
base
improve
turn.
altitude and reduce power to 2,100 RPMs. Once your speed is in the white arc, add 10 degrees of flaps to prep us for landing.
All right, I don't know how
Now's not a
to
bad
do that.
time to check if the runway is looking good.
Runway looks great. Look at that.
And it probably goes without saying, always watch out for other planes entering or exiting the pattern.
See, now I'm too high. I need to be about 200 feet lower. So I'm gonna let this bleed off a little bit. I can probably eat a little bit of throttle. And finding my flaps here. All right. Is that F8? That's not 10 degrees of flaps.
Again, onto the base leg.
That's like 40 degrees of flaps. Let's add 10 degrees. Yeah, that's really difficult. I'll find another way to do this. All right, so we got 10 degrees of flaps on our base turn, which is the one that we take parallel to the runway. And in about a mile, we're gonna make that left turn. I wanna maintain, I'm still too high. So I'm gonna drop down to 5,800 feet and bleed off some throttle. No, I wanna stay at about 2,000 RPMs, 2,100 RPMs. Yeah. All right, base turn coming up in 0.5. Great, now we're getting down to 1,000 feet above ground, or 5,800 MSL.
All right, reduce power to idle to start losing altitude.
I am not going to reduce power to idle. That's ridiculous, but I will reduce it a little bit and make this nice coordinated turn. These rudders are so sensitive.
Around 65 knots.
65 knots is probably what I'm going to be. I'm going to aim for that point to get on final. I'm actually a little bit too far out. I'm going to reset, and then we're going to make a nice start descending here.
There we go. The runway's in full view. Make sure
And we're
to
going to
keep
make
the
a
plane
nice
centered on approach.
coordinated turn to the left.
If you're too high, add flaps. Too low, add power to maintain the glide path.
Glide path is okay. I'm actually going to land at 10 flaps. Get back on center here. I'm actually landing quite hot. I wouldn't do this. I probably should have put flaps on. It's okay. And ready to touch down. We got so much runway that I'm not really concerned about it. Power's at idle. I could have flapped, but I didn't. And there we go.
Eep Off the Chill has a question for you. How high up do you have to fly before you leave national airspace?
I don't know what low Earth orbit is anymore. Is it like 100 miles? I don't know. And now we're approaching the end of the runway, so we're just gonna go ahead and stop this before we run off the runway. Are we gonna run off the runway? Let's not run off the runway. Come on.
Way to stick the landing. Now just apply the brakes to slow
Woo,
your
we made
roll.
it.
And make sure you don't stop on the runway, of course.
Why not?
If other planes are looking to land, we've got to move.
Well, you didn't tell me
Take
where
one
to
of the
turn.
taxiways on the right.
Okay, let's take the taxiway on the right. We're just gonna go across the grass. Here we go, guys. This is, you should never do this. Ever, 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 ever. Please never do this if you fly an airplane. All right, now we're taxiing off the runway. A little fast for me, but okay. Now we're in the grass. And, I don't know, let's go this way. Let's go up on the curb. Yep, we're good. Where do I have to go, lady? Stop aircraft on a taxiway. Okay, let's go on the taxiway then. I couldn't see the objectives. Oh, come on, I didn't crash. I hit like a tiny little curb. All right, it's good for us to do another pattern anyway. All right, ready to fly. Make sure my
Let's be
rudders
honest.
are.
No one likes going around in
Yeah, I do.
circles.
Shut up.
Unless
We're
you're
going.
a pilot training on traffic patterns.
We're gonna take our carb heat off.
Sedona's standard traffic pattern follows a 1,000-foot altitude around the main runway. By the time we're through here,
There was a poll that started on the Twitch chat, and a lot of the results were definitely not in your favor, Joe.
That's great. What did they think I was gonna do? Well, this is a much cleaner takeoff than I had previously. Here we go, rotating at about 60 knots. We're gonna try to keep this heading of 210 this time, and push it to 75 knot climb.
When we're up, keep us aligned with the runway and climb to 5,400 feet.
Why 5,400? That's not...
We're going for a left-hand
Was I
traffic
wrong?
pattern.
Maybe I was wrong. I thought it was 1,000 feet above the runway. Climbing at 75. Maintain 67 knots. I guess okay. This poor airplane really
Once we
doesn't do
reach
a whole lot.
altitude, you're gonna start turning left 90 degrees toward a 122 degree heading.
So 5,400 feet is where I'm aiming
Okay,
at.
we're in the pattern. Get ready to enter the crosswind section.
Here we are.
Good. Keep going till you reach the traffic pattern altitude of 5,700 feet. Ready to make your left turn downwind?
I just did.
When the runway appears at the halfway point of your wing strut, you'll know you're at a good glide distance.
All right, look at that clean rollout, everybody. I remember how to fly an airplane. That was a clean rollout.
We've got the wind at our back now. We're on the right track.
Okay, ready to go downwind. Here we go.
Lower your nose to a cruise attitude and reduce power to 2,100 RPMs. Once your speed is in the white arc, add 10 degrees of flaps to prep us for landing. Now's not a bad time to check if the runway is looking good. And, it probably goes without saying, always watch out for other planes entering or exiting the pattern.
All right, this whole flap thing, I gotta fix this.
We're gonna fly past the end of the runway here.
All right,
Keep going
10 degree
until you
flap.
see it at a 45-degree angle behind you. That's your cue to turn left again, onto the base leg.
We were way too high. Well, we're about 200 feet too high. I'm gonna bleed a little bit of altitude. Flaps down 10%.
Asking, what's the biggest plane you've piloted?
Probably a Cessna 172, which is like a considerable step up from this as far as power.
Reduce power to idle to start losing altitude and maintain cruise attitude.
Okay,
Keep an eye on the runway as we get ready for our final turn.
here we go.
That'll also keep our speed around 65 knots.
Okay, keeping it straight, losing some altitude. 500 feet per minute, which is fine. It's where I want to be. I think it's gonna be a much smoother landing. And we'll actually
There
go
we
off a taxi
The
right now.
runway's in full view.
All right,
Make sure to keep the plane
On
center
final.
approach.
nice coordinated
If you're too
turn.
high,
Keep
add
that ball in the
flaps.
center.
Too low, add power to maintain the glide path.
I should be doing flaps, and actually I'm gonna try to do it this time. Flaps are, woof. Okay, not normally how I would do that. So my flaps are all the way down. I should start slowing down considerably. Still aiming for the numbers. I'm not totally on, but that's okay. I will be once I get right about here. And that's too intense of a descent. We're gonna come down nice and easy. And we are on the ground. Put some brakes on. And I'm gonna take the next taxiway.
Way to stick the landing. Now, just apply the brakes to slow your roll. And make sure you don't stop on the runway, of course. If other
We are
planes
out.
are looking to land, we've got to move.
That's
Take
it.
one of the taxiways on the right.
And we'll taxi back
Good
to
job.
wherever
As
we
an
are.
old instructor said to me, not only
Bonnie
did you not
Canuck
die,
asks,
you really
would you
learned
ever
to
consider
fly."
flying a twin engine aircraft?
Sure, that's a lot of that was textbook landing, guys. Textbook. First solo flight. This has all been solo. I would definitely. There's a lot more training that goes into, like, I need a lot of step-up certification. So right now I'm not licensed to fly on instruments. I'm only licensed to fly what we call VFR, so visual only. I would need to get my instrument rating, which is probably a good idea anyway, just to be safe. Which means I can fly with my eyes closed. Well, if the windshield was completely obfuscated, I could fly using the instruments. Okay, here we are at Sedona. Runway elevation's 4,800 feet, indicated airspeed. Okay. Heading 214, runway 21. I'm gonna get rid of this freaking carb heat.
Your first solo flight.
Take the
I'll be
parking brake
watching
off.
from the ground in radio contact if you need me, but something tells me you won't. Your goal is to complete Sedona's left-hand traffic pattern on your own.
Great.
Remember what we covered in our previous sessions, and you'll be just fine.
Shut up. Here we go.
Good luck. See you on the other
Stokes
side.
2K saying if you enjoyed Ace Combat, to check out Project Wingman, an indie game heavily inspired by Ace Combat.
Nice. All right, nice easy takeoff here. I need to do this without a chair with wheels on it, because when I put pressure on the rudders, sometimes I go backwards. On that wall a little bit, make a nice, okay, keep it nice and coordinated. Staying on heading 2-1, and we're trying to get to 5,800 feet in front of us, 5,400 feet-ish. And then we'll make our crosswind. Staying on heading 2-1. Almost. I'm a little off heading, that's okay. There we go. Okay, we are turning left. Joining the traffic pattern on the crosswind, here we go! Still trying to aim up a little bit. 1, 2, that was it, right? 120 is the heading I'm aiming for. Good, good. And about when I get to that peak, so much of VFR flying I found was like these funny markings on the ground. Like you're looking, okay, I'm past this building now. I can make my turn now. It's probably good for the left, the downwind. So we make downwind, which should put us at 030 heading, I think, right? Where's the runway? Yep. 030 is the heading I want to be on for here. I'm a little cockeyed, but that's okay. I'm actually going to push out from the runway a little bit. I didn't go far enough. Now we're on our downwind. And I'm going to go back to 030 heading, and this should set us up for a nice landing. I'm currently at the correct altitude, about 5,900 feet. I'm getting the hang of this again, guys. This feels good. Now I'm a little cockeyed here. I'm going to go back to the heading 030. I don't want to make that turn too sharp.
The Weird Bug asks, how do you deal with feeling dizzy during a flight or during VR?
I don't have the motion sickness, especially like if I'm in control. I've never had motion sickness issues, except I tried a roller coaster VR thing once. As soon as that's at a 45-degree angle to my back, I'm gonna make this base turn. Almost. All right, I'm gonna put the flaps down, drop the throttle to idle, and make this base leg. Hopefully not at 45 degrees. That was really aggressive stick grab. All right. All right, now I'm gonna drop the throttle to idle. I'm actually too high, I think. But it's okay. I'm actually gonna start my flaps down now then, so that I can bleed off some airspeed and some altitude. And we're gonna make kind of a short approach here. But we'll be fine. Oh no, this isn't so bad. This isn't so bad. 80 knots is not where I want to be landing, but it's okay. In this instance, I might... No, I've got plenty of room. If this is a shorter runway, I might abort the landing and just go around. I would say, you know, towers, AS, Alpha Sierra, X-Ray, Golf Sierra going around. And they'd be like, okay. Otherwise, that was a pretty good landing. Not bad. A little high, but not bad. And now we're gonna find ourselves a taxiway. And head over
Riding
there.
Foxy Dragon asked if you still have your real life pilot's license.
Yeah, it's in my wallet. Keep it in my wallet. Just in case I have to jump in an airplane. All right, we can add a little bit of juice here.
Great job. There's always room for improvement. That's life, right? But you did it all on your
I thought
own.
that was pretty good, lady.
You're on your way to becoming one hell of a pilot.
All right, past that. Navigation, oh God.
Rachel 981 asks, so did you have your own plane or did you rent one? How does that work?
I rented one. Having my own plane would have cost me several $100,000. Although sometimes what happens is you'll get a group of pilots, like private pilots, that get together and kind of like go in on a plane, and then it's like a timeshare almost. You just kind of coordinate and you guys pay all the fees together. In my case, it didn't make any sense. It's just such an expensive hobby. Either way you cut it, you know, it's like you're renting an airplane. It costs you $120 an hour or something like that. So what am I doing? Can you explain this to me, instructor?
I've always said, flying is freeing. Open skies, endless possibilities. But to fully enjoy it, you need to be prepared.
Okay.
We're going to focus this lesson on navigation prep and procedures. The fundamentals of getting from point A
My
to
battery's
point
low.
B. Step 1, putting some distance between us and the ground.
Okay. One of the unique things about learning to fly was that even though we have the capability to do all this stuff, is that my... Yeah. That I have the capability to do everything by like GPS, they make you learn everything in an analog way, which is so time consuming. Like, you're picking points on the ground and you're like pulling out a map while you're flying a friggin' airplane, and you're like, okay, I'm going 60 knots, it's been 8 minutes, I've done this distance, okay, it's extremely confusing. So I'm assuming that's what we're about to do.
Carbesix wants to know, when you were in the Air Force, did you have a call sign?
I did. And I think someone in the chat probably should know it, because I think I talked about it many streams ago to get this airplane off the ground. Hootie, do you not know my call sign?
I think maybe you told me once a long time ago. I'm about to get one myself in a couple months.
Oh boy. My call sign was Rain Man.
Oh, that's nice.
There we go. So what am I doing, instructor? I didn't hear anything on the radio that told me what I was supposed to do.
All right, we're off. Now, keep climbing around the airport till we reach 5,800 feet.
Climbing around the airport? What was my takeoff? Was it a straight ahead departure? The right hand departure? Where are we going?
Later, Gatorful is asking, if you decided to become a commercial airline pilot, would the transition be easy, or would there be a lot of steps to get up to speed?
Hundreds of hours of stuff to get up to speed. hundreds of hours. It's a completely different experience. It's like the experience of like driving a car versus building a nuclear reactor. I don't even know. Like it's completely different. Where am I going?
It goes without saying, but good navigation starts with good departure prep. Let's set up the aircraft for the first leg of your trip.
Okay, but
Attitude? Check. Now for your heading. When you need to set and maintain a heading, you'll want to rely on your heading indicator. Compasses are prone to errors, especially during turns or while accelerating or decelerating. Go ahead and position your plane above the airport.
all the way back there? Why'd you make me do that? All right, and what do you want me to be? What's my altitude? I don't have nearly enough information to do this. Like, what do you want me to be at? I guess I'm gonna go with where I am now. Just stay at 6,200 feet. Okay, so we're going from Sedona to Flagstaff, which is only 21 nautical miles, 17 minutes in the aircraft. From this point, I'm going to be heading 41 degrees for 8 miles, 5 minutes, 7 seconds. Then I'm going to turn to heading 343 to get into probably Flagstaff's pattern. I don't know what altitude you want me to be at, so... Ugh.
Oh, one last bit of departure prep. We need to validate the time. That's a fancy way of saying start the clock. On the nav log, you can see our next waypoint, Munns Park, is at a 41-degree heading about 5 minutes away. Navigating is basically flying a given heading for a given amount of time. Sometimes you deviate, but if you track the time flown from your last known position, you'll always have at least a range for your current position.
I'm like nervous because it's not telling me what altitude I need to be at. What's up with this trim?
We all know speed can increase or decrease depending on the wind. That's why at your next waypoint you'll want to compare your estimated time en route with the actual time flown. Validate your estimate and your progress.
All right. So it should take us about 5 minutes to get to this location. I am gonna set up a little bit of a trim so I can take my hand off the joystick a little bit. Maybe like there. No, that's too much. I'm gonna stall. I'm gonna stall. Stop it. Oh, the trim is very annoying. Stop it. Oh, I've got to figure out a way to fix that. All right, forget it. I know I'm not going to stall. Forget it. We're going to Munns Park.
So Joe, some people are wondering if at some point during this stream you will attempt a barrel roll.
Not in a Cessna 152, I won't. I'm going to stall. This trim thing is killing me. I can't do it. All right. I'm not gonna stall, I'm going 100 knots. All right, what I need to do is trim it to about right here. Did I do it? Okay. Boy, that was a pain in the butt. I'm gonna set the trim wheel to something else because that was terrible. Currently, I'm at 6,600 feet. I wasn't given an altitude, so I actually have no idea where I'm supposed to be. Pretty much straight and level flight here. And about 2 minutes remaining until we get to this other waypoint. At which point we're gonna make a left turn to get onto heading 343, which is just a little bit west of due north. I really wish it had told me what altitude I need to be at. Is that the Grand Canyon? It looks like the Grand Canyon. Not really.
So Joe, you've been asked, if Gavin is a licensed pilot, but he uses evil to fly, does his piloting license cover that?
I don't know. I don't know why he would get in an airplane if he could just fly around. I don't know how fast he could fly. So maybe it's like a speed issue. Drop my altitude to 6,500 feet. I really wasn't like, does it want me to climb up there? What's my cruise altitude? All right, whatever. This does seem a little low. I'm gonna go towards the dot here.
Log, we've got one more stop, Flagstaff Pulliam Airport. An easier way to navigate is to follow identifiable landmarks like highways. And just so happens we have one below us.
There we go, there it is. 343, right? 343. Okay. So why don't we try to cruise at like 7,500 feet? That's where we'll cruise at, right here. Set it right here. We'll just leave it.
A question from Zervit. Which of your characters that you voiced do you feel would have the easiest time learning to fly a plane? Alternatively, who do you think would have the hardest?
I mean, half of them fly a plane already. You know?
He also added the ones that aren't pilots.
Okay. Who would have... Rowan would have the hardest time flying an airplane. 100%. Who would have the easiest time flying an airplane? I don't know. Achilles, maybe? I feel like he'd be alright in an airplane. He's got that Top Gun attitude.
I feel like Kurt could handle it.
Kurt could probably handle it. Yeah, I'd say that.
Question from myself. Do you miss flying?
I do. I don't miss the sheer terror of it, but I miss flying. I don't know. Maybe I'll do it again soon. It's gonna take a lot of work for me to like get back up to all like the nitnoid details of like how to pre-flight an airplane and like making sure the fuel and stuff like that and all the radio calls and stuff. It's a lot. Still doing okay here. I really wish I had trimmed this better. And like I could try again, but it's so annoying. Because I have to control the airplane with my left hand only. Get it to 0. And then I want to trim back a little bit. That might do it. No. I'm just gonna crash, I guess. Having a little like navigational beacon sitting in my field of vision is actually kind of annoying because it keeps forcing, like it keeps making me think I need to climb. But I don't. And I'm still mad that it didn't give me like any kind of indication as to what my yeah, I want to go back down to like, let's go back down to 7,500 feet. All right. This music in the background sounds very Pilot Wingy, which is very appropriate. I'm so disoriented with my headset on here. I don't even know what I'm holding. Let's turn up the, oh, forget it. Alright, I'm gonna complete this trip, land this airplane at Flagstaff, and then I'll launch one and I'll try to do a barrel roll. But I don't think it's gonna work. I think I'll probably just stall out. Looks like we're gonna be right on time.
As you close in on Flagstaff Pulliam airspace, next step is setting up to enter the traffic pattern.
Well, where's the damn runway?
We've got clearance to enter the downwind leg and land on runway 21. Keep your attitude, then follow the standard pattern.
But where's the runway? And we're certainly not downwind here.
Not sure if we asked this before, but Devil Joshi asked, what all planes have you flown, and did you have a favorite?
I flew a Cessna 150, I flew a Cessna 172, and I flew a Cheetah. And the Cessna 172 is my favorite. Okay, that's the runway. So we're gonna enter the downwind leg, which means right about here, we're gonna start making our turn to enter downwind. 45-degree angle to the runway, that's standard traffic pattern. So you can see I'm coming at the runway at 45 degrees. Once I get a sense that I am in the right place, I'm gonna make a nice coordinated turn to the right and follow parallel to the runway. I don't know the altitude of the runway. It doesn't look like I'm 1,000 feet above. I probably want to be 1,000 feet above, but that's okay. I don't have any like information on Flagstaff. So when that runway gets to be about 45 degrees behind me, I'm gonna turn to base, and then I'm gonna turn to final, and we'll be okay. As soon as I turn to base, I'm gonna put some flaps up. Right about now, I'm actually gonna bleed a little bit of throttle. And I'm gonna go ahead and do the flaps now, so I'm not doing it during the turn. Flaps came down a little bit, that's good. And almost ready to make my base turn. All right, flaps are at 10%. We're gonna bleed off some throttle, and we're gonna make this base turn. Here we go. Nice coordinated turn, step on that ball. This is a little steep for me. Runway lights there. And I will pull the throttle back to idle. I will pull the flaps down. I'll take my hand off the yoke, pull the flaps. No, I'm gonna crash. Oh, the flap controls. Awful. All right, we're gonna go ahead and turn on our final. There it is, got a nice little glide slope indicator. I'm going much too slow. I'm gonna go back down to, come on, flap. All right, now I can moderate it with throttle. The threshold up there is that green line. It's very nicely outlined for me there. I'm gonna use a little throttle because I am coming in a little bit low and slow. And I wanna get back on center. Add a little bit more throttle. I don't want to make too sharp of a turn this low to the ground, but we are okay. And now I'm going to cut the throttle back to idle, because we are well within the threshold on runway 21 in Flagstaff.
You weren't really supposed to land there.
What? You told me to...
It's well done, don't get me wrong. Just not what was expected. At this point, I think it's probably best if we start the lesson over.
What did you want me to do? All right. I don't know what it was trying to tell me there. So let's do a barrel roll. What was it trying to tell me to do? I was supposed to land. I don't know. I have no idea. Now we're gonna do a barrel roll and then I'm gonna end the stream. I don't think I could do 2 hours of VR. That kind of hurts my head. All right. See, like, that was not enough information. It didn't tell me what I was supposed to do.
I've always said, flying is
Shut up.
free. Open skies, endless possibilities. But to fully enjoy
Car Pete's
it,
in.
you need to be
Parking
prepared.
brake off. We're out of here.
We're going to focus this lesson on
No.
navigation
Parking
prep
brake
and procedures. The fundamentals of getting from point A to point B. Step 1, putting some distance between us and the ground.
There we go, building up some good speed. We'll rotate and we'll get a nice climb going. And then we're just gonna ignore everything. Hopefully she won't terminate the lesson. And we'll see if we can get this airplane to roll. So that's commonly,
All right, we're off. Now keep climbing.
you guys know
around
the difference in an
airport
aileron roll or a
until you
snap
reach
roll and a
800
barrel
feet.
roll, right? Barrel roll is like you're going around the outside of a barrel. An aileron roll is when you snap over. So we could try both. I would like a considerable amount of speed before we do this. So I'm gonna climb and then we'll dive a little bit and try to see if we can't get this airplane to roll over. I don't recommend doing this ever. Oh, I can turn the inside cockpit light on. It's dark in here. All right, ready for a quick snap roll? This is gonna be the worst thing I've ever done. Oh God, that wasn't it. Oh, okay. So that was like a really sloppy snap roll. I can't believe the airplane survived that, to be honest. Now a barrel roll is more like you do this and then you lean over and then you have to get inverted and let the airplane kind of sink. I don't have the, it doesn't have the juice for it. It won't do it. You really can't. You really can't. I'm surprised I snap rolled, to be honest. Yeah, this stall warning. Let's land on this road. Let's go find a fun place to land. Golf courses are actually pretty good for emergency landings. Let's go hit this road over here. Well, that's not a really good road to land on. I'm gonna put the flaps down. All right, now we got full flaps, full throttle. Let's see. Can I find a good place to land? Plotting an emergency landing is an important part as a pilot. I would actually, at this altitude, I would absolutely choose this field. If I had no engine power, I wouldn't really be able to do much, but I'm gonna choose this field and I'm gonna land on the right side of it. Hopefully clear these trees, or I would land on this road. We're gonna try the road. We're gonna try the road. Don't stall, don't stall, don't stall, don't stall. We're good, we're gonna do it.
You weren't really supposed to land there.
But I did.
It's well done, don't get me wrong. Just
But I
not what was
did.
expected. At this point, I think it's probably best if we start the lesson over.
You're probably right. You're probably right. No crash. No crash. Got all tangled up. I got VR here. Okay. Man, all right. There's a lot of stuff I have to figure out about the VR component of this to make it worth it to stream. It's so fun. Like, it's a really immersive experience. To jump into the cockpit like that. And it felt just like I was in my old Cessna. Yeah. I have VR eyes. I've got VR hair. I mean, a lot of VR stuff going on. Was that fun? Would you guys want to do that again? I don't know how many times like I could handle just flying an airplane for a couple of hours on stream. Yeah, an hour and a half in VR and like not getting sick. I feel pretty good. Yeah, I'm red in the face. It's like I got well, I'm red in the face because actually I have flux on. I don't know if that helps. But I would love to play Star Wars Squadrons is a different beast. Elite Dangerous would be fun. I'm sorry I didn't crash. I mean, technically I crashed like from the sim. That was, we all can agree that wasn't a crash. All I did was like bump up against a curb. I mean, big deal. I'll crash next. I didn't even crash when I barrel rolled the airplane. I don't know. Yeah, Star Wars Squadrons in VR is wildly fun. Different because you're flying in space, so like the way that they ask you to do it is that, you know, when you put the stick to the left or right, you're supposed to pitch, right? You're supposed to roll. But in Star Wars, they kind of encourage, like, rolling in space doesn't really make any sense. Like, the only reason you roll to turn in an airplane is because of the way that the air works. If there's no air, then why? So like, yeah, when you turn the stick sideways, you actually yaw, which is way more practical for shooting down TIE fighters or X-Wings. So, I'm tired, you guys. I'm tired. The last couple of weeks have been an adventure. So I am gonna go get that rest. Let's see, who do we want to raid? Because I want to make someone happy. Let me see here. Is anybody playing? I don't know, let's raid a Fire Emblem person. I don't know who this person is. We're gonna do that. Thank you guys for hanging out. I will see you tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Pacific time. This is driving me insane. 9 a.m. Pacific time for some Shadowverse. It's gonna be a great time. I will see you then. Thanks for hanging out and stay safe up there in the straighten up and fly.